you guys something that I figured out how to do with my Cameo and my Silhouette software. I have a whole bunch of stamps, and a lot of them required fussy cutting because I don't, the dies for the stamps are new. That you get a die with a stamp that's relatively new, and I wanted to figure out a way of fussy cutting stamps, all the stamps that I had, without having to buy the dies. And a lot of them don't have the dies anyways. And so I came across, well, kind of by print and cut, if you will, only we're not printing. Well, we are printing, but we're going to be stamping and then doing that. So I'm calling it cut and stamp instead of print and cut, because basically I'll walk you through the fact that you scan these into your computer, trace them with your Silhouette, and then you can cut them with your Silhouette, and then once you're done cutting your pattern, then you stamp it. And so I'll walk you through how to do that. This will be my first time using the screen recording for the Silhouette software, so bear with me on that and kind of splicing stuff together. So we'll see how this goes. Anyways, basically what you need is any stamp. It doesn't have to be a clear stamp. I just happen to have clear stamps. If you have a Stamp-A-Ma-Jig thing, you can use any stamp for this. This was a clear stamp that basically I stamped it on a piece of paper, I scanned it in, I cut the shape I wanted, and then I stamped it, and it has a perfect outline. Same with this little bear stamp. I basically stamped it on a piece of paper, which I can't find this morning. It's probably still in the scanner. And then I cut out the shape, and I tried different widths of the border, and it worked perfectly. Even this really thin border, I just can't stamp straight. So it does work with very, very close cuts. You just have to be able to stamp straight, and I'm not real good at that. Anyways, and then I used my handmade Stamp-A-Ma-Jig thing to do it, but it still doesn't matter. My hand shakes, so it's crooked. So bear with me. My plan is to do these close to my heart borders because, well, I grabbed them, and that was the ones I chose to use. So we'll see how this goes. So stay tuned. Okay, so let's get started. What you need is some kind of software that you can trace files and make them cuttable. So you either need Make the Cut, Sure Cuts a Lot, or the Silhouette software. At least those are the three that I know of. There may be others, but you need to have one of those three softwares because you need to work with a machine like a Cricut that you can still use Sure Cuts a Lot, Make the Cut with, or of course the Cameo, the Silhouette SD, the Portrait, your cutting machine. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to stamp this, scan it in, so you need a scanner or a scanner printer, you need some way of getting it in, and then the software, and then a cutting machine. I am going to be using my printer scanner and my Cameo for this demonstration. But it should work with any software that you can scan in. Sure Cuts a Lot, I know it works with too. Anyways, let's get started. What I'm going to do is stamp. It does not have to be perfect. You're not looking for awesome stamping here because you're looking for the basic outline shape. I mean, if you want to get into more detail and all of that, once you learn the process, go forth. But until then, basically you're looking for just a clean stamp. It does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be in a particular color. It just needs to have a relatively clear outside edge. So I'm going to use these close to my heart frames and VersaFine ink because until I found VersaFine ink, I couldn't stamp at all. And it makes me feel like I'm somewhat of a stamper. But don't laugh, I'm not good at it. And I won't tell you how many takes I've had of this. But basically what you're looking for is just a nice outline of the stamp. Now with this one, you could do the inside as a cutout also, and I'll show you that in the software. So there's the first one, and as you can tell, it's not perfect, but that doesn't matter. Okay, so let's do the other one real quick since I might as well do two since I'm in the process. You can do up to a 12 by 12 mat worth because you're not printing it. So you just fill it up, and like if I was going to do this, like this is a whole set. If I was really going to do this to keep it in my library in the software, I would do the whole set at the same time. Scan the whole thing in, trace the whole thing in, and then save it. That way, whenever I go to use it, they're ready to go for me, and I don't have to redo the process every single time. Okay, so that is the stamping. So we're going to use these, and you want to make sure it's on relatively smooth cardstock. You don't want to scan in your textured cardstock or anything like that. Do try to get the best stamp that you can. Like I said, these are not the greatest, but they will work. And you want to make sure that you have the whole stamp. Here's one of the ones I started with. No blemishes and stuff. It makes it harder to clean it up. So, you know, just a relatively good stamp would work awesome. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go scan these in because I don't really know how to show you how to do that. Since I don't know what kind of scanner you have. With mine, you put it in, scan it in black and white, and if you have the option to scan it as a photograph, that makes it just a little stronger and a little crisper. So go scan in your image, and I'll be right back with you. First time doing this the new screen recording, the screen recording part of a video. So bear with me. It's kind of a learning curve, and I'm sorry about that, but you know, I guess they say doing it is the best way to learn it. Okay, so by now you have stamped your images, you have scanned them in to your computer, either Windows or Mac. This tutorial is going to be using a Mac. It's the same basic principles with Windows. Scan your image in, crop it down to fit so that it's just the stamped image itself, and then we're going to drag and drop it into the Silhouette software, or SureCut Silhouette software, or Make the Cut software. So so like I said, I'm going to walk you through it on a Mac, but again, you'll get, if you're used to using Windows, you can pretty much figure this out. If you have questions about cropping and that kind of stuff on your images on a Windows machine, just leave me a comment or message me, and I can hook you up with something that you can crop your images with really, really easy. Okay, let's do this. So here is the image that I scanned in. And basically what we want to do is we want to crop these down so that they are to size for what they were stamped. And in order to get that, you just need to make sure that you have a nice close crop. If you drag and drop this whole image in there, it won't be sized correctly. And that's basically the only trick that I figured out that made it work perfect, so you don't have to resize it for the stamps. Basically, double check it though. When you get it dragged into your Silhouette, kind of rough measure your stamp and rough measure what your cut file is going to be, and that generally gives you a perfect idea of whether you're even close or not. That's the nice thing about this, is the fact that we're not looking for a perfect cut. Odds are unless you really, really, really want to play with it, you're never going to get that cut along the black edge perfection. We're looking for that cut along the edge with that nice clean white border, or whatever you've stamped on border. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop both of these individually. So here is the first one, and basically you draw your little ants border around it, click your edit, and crop it. And there you have it saved, or you have it cropped. Then you're going to save it. And then once you have it saved, as you can see, is now down to size. Take it, drag it, and drop it into it. It stayed the same as what it was stamped. And if you kind of look, you can tell that it's only a couple inches wide by a couple inches tall. So that gives you a general idea that you're on the right track. You can resize them by dragging the size. So don't panic if it's ginormous when you drop it in here. Just resize it. Now we got to go back and get the other frame. And I'm sure there's a simpler way to do this, but I haven't figured it out. And so this is how I do it. So basically on a Mac, you want to go back up to your file, and you want to, whoops, hold on here. Here we go. Learning curve, we want to revert to the last open. And so what that'll do is it will bring you back your original. And then what you're going to do is do the exact same thing with the other image. So, and you just, like I said, just try to crop in as close as you can without losing any detail. Hit your crop and your save. And now you'll see it, and it changed to the other one. So what you want to do is drag that one into your screen. And again, see, they're the same size as they were when you stamped it. So now what we want to do is we want to trace them. Okay. There are lots of different ways to trace them. This is how I figured out how to do it. If you have a better way of tracing your images, I welcome the ideas coming to me of you telling me how you do it.
But what we're looking for is a basic outlined image. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're not trying to cut exactly along the black lines. So what you do is you have your 2 images, 3 images. Again, as you can tell, we can do the whole thing. Go up and click your trace icon, which is this one right up here. And I can't tell, but I'm kind of hoping that this is doing the mouse clicks. But again, learning curve, so we'll find out. Select your trace area, and then you want to just highlight the 2 images, and you'll see them turn yellow. And what I have found to work the best is you turn off your high pass filter, and on your threshold, you just, let me get a little bigger here. Whee! Now we can see it. Okay, I'm professional, aren't I? Whee! As you can see, you kind of have these little jagged edges and stuff like that. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Try to fill it in. You want to keep your eye. I'm trying to point at the screen. That so doesn't work when it doesn't see you. You want to try to get this outside edge done as best that you can. Again, on like this one, you could do the inside edge too, but we're not going to do that today. So let's get it filled in the best that you can. Sometimes you can click the low pass filter and that'll poof it up a little bit too. But I find that it's just as easy just to kind of see when it goes, you can tell when it goes too far, and you can just kind of dial it back. Because again, it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to make the outline actually a little bigger. So like if we click the low pass, this would actually work really good on these because it takes a lot of the furry edge out, if you will. So, and this was kind of a grunge stamp, so this one will be a little more difficult to get a smooth edge on, but don't worry about it. So let's just go ahead on this example to click the low pass filter. Again, on yours, play around with it. Click it, unclick it, see what you like. It doesn't matter that these circles are not round. It doesn't matter that these are not round. It doesn't matter because all we're going to do is then click Trace Outer Edge. And when you pull your pictures away, let's go back out a little bit here. You're going to see that we have the basic outline. And see, this one did more, and that's okay. Don't worry about it. So what you want to do is you want to basically, like on this one here, we want to release the compounds so that now they're 2 separate images. See how they move around? And on this one, let's see if any of these little pieces came out. And they did not, but that's okay. It doesn't matter because you're going to make it bigger, so don't worry about it. So what I would do just to make this faster is I would select these 2 again and weld them together or group them. You can group it too. It doesn't really matter. You just want to have them hooked together because you're going to offset them. So select your image. And I'm sorry this kind of jumps around a little bit. I promise that my next one will be a little smoother. I do great. I have done tutorials for years, but always in type. I've never done them for voice. So, well, other than little short ones. So hang with me. All right. So now we want to offset it. We want to make a nice round outline. So what you're going to do is you're going to click your offset window. You're going to do offset. If you do your internal offset, that'll make it smaller in here. We want it to go out to the edge. You're going to choose offset, and it does an automatic 1/4 inch border, no matter what you do. 30. So what you want to do is then you want to come in here and change it to whatever size you want. Usually a good rule of thumb is like 0.5 and click apply. And as you can see, it provided a nice round outline border. Oh wait, you can't see it. Let's fix that. So basically you can take the original out by just grabbing it, and it's over here. Okay, now you have these 2 images. Did it work? Let's find out. If you cut it, you can tell that you will have a perfect little white border that goes just like this. Ta-da! Pretty nifty, right? So let's test it out. First, delete these because you don't need them anymore. And again, you can make it a little skinnier if you want, a little broader if you want. Also on this wall, I would keep the rounded corners. That makes it a nice rounded cut. You can square the corners, but In this example, we don't really want to do that. We want to keep everything nice and rounded. I wish you guys could see me talking with my hands to the screen. It's hilarious. Okay, so let's pan back here a bit, because what we want to do is remove our printed images. I don't think you have to do that, but for me, that's what I've done. I'm going to put this one here because of the paper I'm using, and I'm going to put this one here. I'm just going to use up some scratch paper, so I'm going to have them into different corners. And what you're going to do is now you're at the normal cut part of print and cut, or any kind of cutting. So you would go up to your cut, pick your settings that you want, and then click cut over to your machine. And so I'm going to go set my machine up, I'm going to get this cut, and then I am going to meet you back over at the Let's Get Stamping station, all right? That you can keep these files. So don't now just close it out and you're done. After you've cut them and you've checked that they are to size and they fit, now let's save them to our library. So what I do is I would just move it so that they're together so you know which ones go with which. And again, I would have done the whole entire stamp set with this so that when you pulled this file open, you would have just this one stamp set. So what you're going to do is you can put all your files and your images together, and then you're going to go up to File, and hold on, I got to move a window here. You don't see the window, but it's there, I promise. You're going to save to your library, and mine's kind of a mess, but what I'm going to do is you can, for right now, just save it to your library, and then you can move it around. So I would say Close to My Heart frame, I don't know what this is called. I'm naming it. Frame set, okay? And I would put on here as a keyword, cut and stamp. Whoops, maybe not. Here we go. Cut and stamp frames. Something like that. Okay, you can go, you can do whatever you want to do. Add all this stuff. It doesn't really, I put regular cut because that's really what it is. You're not printing this or anything like that. Hit OK. And then when you pull up your library, there may be an easier way to do that too. I don't know. This is just how I do it. And so, I would do a new folder, cut and stamp, and then go up to my designs, find the one that I just made, which is located right here, and put it in the cut and stamp. And so now I know these are ready to go. So that's how I would save them. And then you never ever have to do this again. And eventually you're going to have all your stamps done. And I'm assuming, just as a little side note, there's no copyright violation or anything like that because you're not printing and stamping these. I mean, if you choose to do that, you decided to do that. That's not what I'm trying to teach you here. What I'm trying to do is get more use out of your stamps. And if you're not real good at fussy cutting or you have trouble with your hands so you can't fussy cut, this would be that solution. So anyways, you've got it saved and you're set to go. I've got them cut out. I'll meet you over at the stamping part. Okay, so we're at the final stages. So basically now we have our files that are cut out, and I sillily did not cut 2 of these. Always cut 2 just in case your stamping is really bad like mine, so you have a chance. Nice thing with this is that we should be able to flip them over because the stamps are relatively uniform on both sides. So let's get going. Okay, as you can see, they cut exactly the size that you needed them to be, and so it worked. Let's put it on a block, and again, don't laugh at my stamping because I'm really, I have thousands of stamps. I don't stamp hardly anything. I print everything. It's just old habit for me. So this is, you know, this will give you your giggle. But ink it up. This is probably easier. Ink it up really good because now you want a really good stamp. So be sure that you are, you know, you do your good, you know, find somebody who can teach you how to really good stamp. And again, these are not really, they don't really matter up or down, left or right, because they're pretty uniform with their shapes. So, but if you have a particular shape, make sure your top and bottom are the same, and you know, you line your stamp up to make sure it's right. So basically, what I'm going to do is come in here and line up my stamp the best that I can. Use a stamping majig if you're not real good at lining it up, which I am not, but, and see, I'm off over here. But that's okay. This is just for demonstration purposes. And I'm not a really good stamper. Now remember, please, this is for about how to do it, not for my stamping skills.
But as you can see, it has a nice white border, which would have been even if I had stamped it right. But I'm not going to redo this. You guys get the general idea. You awesome stampers, go forth and stamp. But, and now we have, you know, it would have been the perfect white border. I wonder if it'll let me do the other side. Okay, test trial. Let's try the other side. Okay, so let's stick it on here. Stop laughing. I can't help it. I can figure the process out. It doesn't mean I'm a good stamper. All right, so let's try this again. Think it'll work? I don't know. Let's see. Well, that and I have a webcam right in the middle of my face. Oh, that I did a little better. Get it down there and gotta do the grunt and the squishy. And it's stuck. See? Perfect! Yay! And now you can tell that it worked. You can make it a smaller border, you can make it a bigger border. You get the general gist of this, okay? If you're looking for perfection, A, work really hard on stamping well, and B, use your scissors. This is for the lazy people like me who just want it the best that it can be. Let's try the other one, alright? So here's that stamp. And we ink. Love versifying. It works with really crappy cheap stamps. That's what I like, and that's mostly what I own. Alright, so let's line it up. See, if I didn't have the webcam right in, see the webcam, hi, is right there. And of course that's where I have to stamp. You're laughing, aren't you? Don't laugh, it's not funny. Okay, so we squished, it's stuck. And again, I'm off, but the cut, you can tell the cut file is on. So give this a whirl. There's your edge. You know, you can make it a bigger edge, you can make it a smaller edge. You can do whatever you want. And if you're like me with fussy cutting, it would have been crooked anyways. So, and there's lots of, you know, you could have done it with the brackets. Do your whole stamp set, oh sorry, at the same time. And that's what I got. I hope that helps somebody. If you have questions, comments, good or bad, I can take it. Leave them below. If there's something else you'd like to see done on the silhouette and that kind of stuff, I am definitely not a pro, but I can help you hopefully figure it out. And I hope somebody can use it. You guys have a great day. Thanks for stopping in, and I'll talk to you later. Later, peoples.